Hey everyone, it's Chris here, and today I'm going to run through the latest setup of all my camera gear and electronics that enable me to film and take photos, access all the media I need, and keep all of my devices charged when I'm out on the trail. Alright, so since I first started filming my hikes and making videos for this channel, I've evolved my camera gear and my electronic setup for two main reasons. The first reason is that I wanted to improve the quality of my videos and photos with some better quality equipment. And the second reason is that I'm now planning to do some longer hikes in the future, and that means being out in the wilderness for longer periods of time rather than just an overnight hike or maybe a 2-night hike. And that of course means longer periods without access to electricity to charge devices. When I first started filming my hikes, my setup was really simple. I was shooting video on my iPhone and I just had that sitting on a small tripod, and to recharge my phone I was just using a small 6000 milliamp hour power bank, and that would give me basically about 2.5 charges on my phone. Earlier this year I bought a new camera, the Canon M50, and a few accessories to go with that, and I made a separate video about that which I'll put the link to up here. And that's the camera that I've been doing all of my filming and taking all my photos on since then, including the video I'm shooting right now. With my upcoming hike of the Great Southwest Walk, I'm going to be out on the trail for 6 to 7 days between towns, and so I needed some additional electronics equipment to make sure that I'm going to be able to keep all of my devices charged the whole time. Plus, I've just added a couple of other little things that give me access to the media that I like to use when I'm out there and enjoy my hike that little bit more. So let's now take a look at all of the camera gear and electronics equipment that I have in my latest setup for the trail. Okay, so the first items that I'll quickly talk about are the ones that I mentioned that I went through in that video that I did earlier in the year. And the first of those is the new camera that I bought then, which is the Canon M50. Along with that, I bought a mounted mic for that, which is the Rode Video Micro. I also bought a tripod for the camera, which is the Joby GorillaPod 3K Pro. And the other bit of gear that I bought at the same time was the Peak Designs capture clip, and that's basically to strap onto my pack so that I can then just mount my camera on my shoulder, and it's easy to grab the camera at any time to grab some video or photos. So since then I have also actually purchased a couple of other accessories for the camera as well. The first of those is a variable ND filter, and the one that I've got is a ProMaster filter. So the ND filter just allows me to control the amount of light coming into the lens and just gives me better control over the quality of the footage that I'm capturing, especially when I'm outdoors on, say, a really bright sunny day. The next accessories that I also went and bought for the camera are some additional batteries. And the ones that I went out and bought were actually these ones, the Wasabi power batteries. They're slightly more powerful than the main Canon batteries, so I decided to try these out and see how they go, just to see if I can get slightly longer time out of each battery that I have in the camera. So I plan on carrying the one that's obviously in the camera plus 2 spares, so I'll have 3 batteries that I can cycle through when I'm out on longer hikes. And then the final accessory is just an additional SD card. So the one that's in my camera right now is a 64 gig card. The one that's actually in this case is actually only a 16 gig. That's not the one that I'll be using, but I am going to be purchasing another probably 128 gig card, just so I've got plenty of storage capacity for all the footage that I'm going to be capturing and all the photos. The next bit of important electronics gear that I have with me on all my hikes is of course my iPhone. And the one that I'm still using now is my trusty iPhone 8. That is about 2.5 years old now, and it's honestly been the best iPhone that I've had. I'm not the kind of person that needs to go out and buy a new phone every year or every 2 years. I'll use it for as long as the battery is still giving me good life, and as long as the phone's not causing me any problems. My iPhone 8 is a 256 gig phone, so I've got plenty of storage on that, and that just allows me to have plenty of storage space on that to be able to transfer all of my footage from my SD cards across to that before I start the editing process. The next item I've added to my electronic setup is a new pair of headphones, and the ones that I went and bought are the Apple AirPods 2nd generation, and these are the ones with the wireless charging case. So yeah, really great little headphones, these ones, and it's just nice to now have something where I just don't have to worry about being connected to my phone directly, and I don't have to be right beside my phone to use these. So it's a really good little setup, really enjoying these. And the other thing I bought to go with that is just a little like rubber case or silicone case, and this one's just called a Catalyst case, and I've just got a little carabiner attached to that as well, just to either attach it to somewhere inside my pack or just on the outside of my pack, just so I'm not going to lose the AirPods easily. So the next thing, of course, is the items that I need to be able to charge all of those devices that I've just talked about. So the first thing, of course, is the new power bank that I've bought. Now, the one that I was using previously, as I said before, was just a little slimline 6,000 milliamp hour power bank. But because I've got additional devices to charge now beyond just my phone, as I did have before, I needed a bigger power bank. So the one that I ended up going and purchasing was the Anker PowerCore 20,100 milliamp hours. And that one is pretty substantial in terms of how much charge it can deliver. So I've tested this out already just a little bit with my iPhone, and I managed to get almost 7 full charges out of this thing. So it was, yeah, pretty powerful, and it might be actually overkill. I don't know. I haven't actually sort of taken this on a long hike yet, of course, so I don't know if it's going to be more than I need, but I'd rather have a bit more battery charge than I actually need, just so I know that I'm not going to run out of charge on any of my devices while I'm out in the middle of a hike. So that's the first thing. The next thing is, of course, the way that I need to be able to recharge the batteries in my camera. One of the only real downsides about the Canon M50 is that it doesn't actually have onboard charging. So it means that I do need to carry an additional battery charger for the camera. The battery charger that comes with the Canon M50 is just a mains power charger. And so I needed to go out and find a USB version so that I could use that and connect that up to my power bank while I'm out on hikes. So the one that I ended up settling on was actually a device called the ProMaster Dually battery charger. And that one actually allows you to charge 2 batteries at the same time, which is pretty neat. And obviously USB. The USB cable actually tucks into the bottom of it there, so it's all pretty tidy, quite a neat little unit, and that seems to work pretty well. So that allows me to charge my batteries. As I said before, my plan is to have 3 camera batteries, and I'll just cycle through them as I need to, and so hopefully that's going to be just enough to allow me to keep on shooting video and taking photos on each day of my hike before getting back and recharging at the campsite. And then on a hike like the Great Southwest Walk that I've got coming up, because I am going to be getting to a town about halfway through that, I am going to be also taking a mains power charger. And the one that I got is just this Belkin power charger, and that's basically a dual USB charger. So that just means that I can basically hook up my power bank to recharge that when I get to a hotel or whatever in the town, as well as, say, charging my phone at the same time. It just means that I can be charging 2 devices at the same time and just save a bit more time when I'm doing that. So for something like the Great Southwest Walk, I'm only going to be using this thing basically once when I'm in Nelson, the town that I'm stopping at. But if I am going to be doing longer hikes in the future as well, where I've got multiple sort of towns that I'm stopping at, then obviously going to need this a bit more. So that's the other bit of charging gear that I've got. And then the final items in my electronics gear setup are the cables that I'm going to need to be able to connect my chargers to the devices that I need to charge. And that's this little bag here. And I'll just quickly show you what is in that. So the first one is the USB to lightning cable. That's of course for being able to recharge my iPhone. Also in there is the cable that came with the Anker PowerCore power bank. So that is just a USB to micro USB to be able to recharge the power bank when I've got access to mains power. And then the last thing in that bag is the SD to lightning adapter, so that I can basically transfer all of the footage that I've captured and the photos across to my phone while I'm out on trail. I like to be able to get to the end of a day's hike and transfer all of that onto my phone, just to be able to review the footage that I've taken and the photos I've taken. I like to be able to view that on my phone rather than looking at the screen on the camera. So I like to do that while I'm out on the hike, and that will let me do that. And for the group of items that I don't need access to all the time during the day while I'm hiking, I just keep them in this little DCF roll top dry bag. And that's just good to be able to keep all those items together, and I know that it's going to keep them all dry and protected as well. So there it is. There's the latest setup that I've put together of all my camera gear and electronics. For those of you watching this who are content creators that like to do filming or photography in the outdoors, whether it's for hiking or any other outdoor pursuits, I'm sure this is probably going to be of interest to some degree, even if it's just looking at comparing the setup I'm using to the one that you have. Or maybe you're into hiking, but don't currently capture your trips on film, and you're wanting to get into starting to film your hikes or doing more photography with some professional gear. Hopefully this video will also be useful for you guys to give you some ideas about the type of camera gear and electronics you may need to carry to be able to capture and document all of your adventures. So I hope you found this video useful. If you did, hit the like button, and if you haven't had a chance to subscribe to my channel yet, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell symbol as well, so that you'll be notified of any new videos as they come out on my channel. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you out on the trail next time.